So you've completed the academy. You've completed your field training program. You've got the keys to your patrol car and you're in the training post and you're on your own doing the job of an Alaska State Trooper or Alaska Wildlife Trooper. If you're anything like I was, you don't know everything about this job at this point, but you know who to call and the adventure's begun for you. Congratulations. Now there's some other things that you need to start thinking about. You're in the training post learning the job in a busy suburban area, going call to call or responding to these calls for service, and you're growing in your level of experience, but you're not going to be here forever. At the 1-year mark, you're off probation, and you are now a trooper rather than a trooper recruit. At the 2-year mark, you're eligible to start bidding, and that means moving to other places in Alaska. Embrace this. This is what Alaska State Troopers and Wildlife Troopers are all about. We're not municipal police officers in a defined geographical area. We have to cover the whole state of Alaska, and that means getting out of these training posts. There's only 3 training posts: Fairbanks, Palmer, and Soldotna. And the problem is we have almost 40 posts around Alaska. So we can't have people just stack up in the training posts. You got to go out there and embrace the adventure that you signed up for. And the way that works is when we have a position that opens up somewhere outside these training posts, they'll come open for bid. And that means that anybody who's eligible to bid can put in a bid request. That bid request involves just putting in a piece of paper saying you want to go there and signing that off and sending it in. It's not an application process or a promotional board or anything like that that happens. The people who submit the bidding request, they're selected based on seniority. So at 2 years, you may not get the first bid you put in for. But as you gain in seniority, you're more likely for your bid to be awarded. The challenge of being an Alaska State Trooper and Wildlife Trooper really changes at this point because you're not in the training post, you're not doing the same sort of police work. You're in a more remote area. Maybe it's up the road just a couple hours, or maybe it's in a rural area in one of our village hubs. The Alaska State Trooper Adventure, Alaska Wildlife Trooper Adventure now involves helicopters and airplanes and boats and four-wheelers. And it's what you saw on TV when you watched the show, when you talked to troopers about the adventures they've had, when you thought about what it means to be a different kind of cop. This is it. This is moving out of those training posts, going out and embracing this adventure. And the way the actual bidding process works is once you hit the 2-year mark, you put in the bid, and if you haven't put in a bid and haven't moved by the time you hit the 5-year mark, you might be forced transferred. We've got 40 posts to fill, 3 training posts to do it from. You can't stay there forever. And the way that process works is the position comes open and eligible bidders will put in for it. If nobody puts in for it and the position is not awarded, then it might come open to volunteer. And that might mean someone who isn't yet eligible to bid has the ability to put in for that. Maybe it's somebody who isn't quite at the 2-year mark, but they have lots of prior relevant experience, and the director's office considers their bid for that position. Or maybe it's someone who's already moved, maybe a couple of times, but they haven't been in their existing position long enough to make them eligible to bid in. If that doesn't fill the position, the director's offices of both divisions often consider alternate work week schedules, maybe 2 on, 2 off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off schedules. Those have been used sometimes to fill positions, and really those are very convenient for a lot of troopers and very desirable positions, and that's an alternate work week schedule that's used in a number of posts around the state. If no option fills that position, then forced transfer might be considered. And the director's offices will look at the different training posts and the staffing levels and decide a training post to select a forced transfer to happen. And the senior trooper under 5 years who is not yet moved and not yet promoted will be selected to be forced transferred into that position. The adventure of being an Alaska State Trooper and Alaska Wildlife Trooper is not about staying in the training post. And I highly encourage you, as you're going through the process and as you're a young trooper, to look at all of these bids that are coming out, learn about these places, call people in these different places, and see if that particular post is one that fits well for you. We pay to move you. And so the movers show up to your house and take you to the new location once you've been awarded a bid. And there's a significant geographical differential that is paid to you depending on the location, as high as 60% in some locations. 60% of your pay increase to account for the cost of living and the different sort of life circumstances out there where you're not on the road in some places and there's more costs associated with living there and that sort of thing. There's specialty pays as well for the different kinds of assignments you can find in those different places. And the adventure that comes with these jobs that are in these remote places often come back in the form of stories. I've had so many troopers tell to me, I was so surprised. I stayed in Palm or Fairbanks or Soldotna for so long. I'm so glad I got out of there and went to such and such place. It's such a different job. I waited too long to embrace that experience. And the stories that they bring back, not just from the adventure of the job, but for the things that their families experienced in some of these remote areas, the small communities that they enjoyed and became very involved in. Very rewarding, very Alaskan sort of living. And really, isn't that what you're signing up for?